All right, hello everyone. My name is Mr. Allen. This is week 3 of CTE Intro to Game Design Semester B. I'm waiting for a few of you guys to show up, hopefully. But I'm just going to get started in a second so this doesn't get boring if you're watching it recorded. So let me just contact a couple people. And I'll get to it. Yeah, I sound a bit better, guys. Not fully, but better than last week. So I'm working on getting better. But I'm good enough now. So how are you guys doing on your models? I guess let me start out by what's going on this week, and then we'll cover what you guys need help with, and then we can go from there. Okay. All right, so week 1 and 2, you basically were doing start your model, and then you should be unwrapping it. Week 2, there's the unwrap tutorial in the week 2 folder. It's also on my YouTube channel. And this week, we're basically just finishing it up, finishing up the unwrap, and I can show you texturing if you want to. That'd be the final step. I want you guys to keep working on your team projects. Hunter, I need like a progress report from what each team is doing and like what their status is, if you have any recommendations, and then if you just give me that weekly, I can go around and tell them what I think they should be doing and check on everything, make sure seems like they're making progress. At this point, we're still really brainstorming, so we're gonna might need to cut this a little short. We're gonna need concept art quickly and design quickly as well. Level design and character concept would be good. Oh man, I should have taken cough medicine first. And from the 3D art team, we really need like a list of assets that we can start working on. So it should be a weekly thing. Just keep in touch with your team, either email or on Discord. Upload all your project files or anything you've done to your folder links. They're right here. Max suggested that we have an overall folder link too, so I'll probably throw that in there so that we can have an overall one and everybody can chat together. And don't feel like you can't talk to the other teams. You have to talk to the other teams. Pretty soon I'll probably designate just a lead, and then they can be the one that has to talk to all the other teams. Additionally, QA, you don't have much to do. In the meantime, start coming up with design ideas. You can either do storyline or level design, or you can also work on gameplay ideas. You can QA some other similar games if you can get your hands on them, or just start brainstorming for the design team your design ideas, gameplay mechanics, puzzles, what have you, and then just email that to the design team or me. Programming team has their hands full. Audio, we're just starting to gather sound effects and start working on music. That's kind of a process. And if you're on the animation, you're going to have to start with working on models first because we don't have anything to animate yet. So I put some things we need: a logo, some character design, some level ideas. Donovan did a couple level layouts, which I thought were pretty cool. So, by the way, guys, I'm on my good computer now, finally again. Is it my job to tell them what to do, or is it their job to talk to each team and find out what to do? Not necessarily your job to tell each team what to do, because that's kind of, they might know more of what they're working on. It's just your job to kind of oversee it and make sure they're not just sitting around doing nothing. And make sure it makes some sort of sense. So I just need to see what they're doing, if they're doing it, and how the progress is coming. And then, if it sounds like weird to me, then I'll tell them to do something else. But yeah, let them kind of be autonomous. Just kind of make sure they're on top of it. And also you're there to like help them out too. If they need resources or if they need to talk to the other teams. Yeah, okay, then you're right. You're kind of the go-to in-between guy just to make sure everything's running smoothly. Really crucial, because that's, otherwise people... No, they're coming up with their own lists. If they have got to the point where there's like, they've run out of stuff to do, then yeah, you can come up with stuff. Or if they're just not doing the stuff on the list, then let me and them know that you need to be working on your list. If you don't have any ideas, then we can come up with some for you, because there's more than plenty to be done for each group. And we just kind of got to prioritize what we need first. So, like I said, as fast as possible. We kind of need like a style sheet from the concept team too. We need to know like what are our main colors going to be. Yeah, we need ideas from really from anybody is good too. Storyline ideas if you want to contribute. And then we'll need the concept team to kind of start working on what colors are we using. Dark muted colors, we're using vibrant colors. Do we have a color palette? Lighting choices. And then we need to kind of lock down what's our art style going to be. Is it going to be realistic, cartoony, somewhere in between? There's a bunch of alternative art styles too. Yeah, that's why we have the open Discord chat, and then we have the separate ones. So don't just stay in your little bubbles, guys. Like, reach out. That's the whole point of working as a big team anyways. I only broke you up into littler teams so you guys can work together on things that are relevant to each other. But it's just barely week 3, and I've been sick for half the time already. So I don't expect us to be anywhere near complete for quite a while. But I do expect to see some progress every week, and that's it. So just shoot me all the progress you have. And if, exactly. We all need to really, at this point, extremely be in contact with each other. Once we all know what we're doing, then we can kind of break off into our little groups. But, until we all have a pretty solid goal, I think somebody needs to take over and rewrite the game design document a little bit, maybe with the help of the concept team to jam some art in there, and that might be a good starting point. But yeah, these are the kind of things you run into when you first start just a game. All right, so that's going to be yeah, Zach and Flynn are on top of it. If you guys are watching this and you're not part of our Discord chat, shoot me an email and we'll add you to it. Did you guys add the person I asked you to last night? Forgot who it was. Just check the chat. It's a couple things up. We got another student that wants in. But if you want it, I highly recommend you just shoot me an email and I'll get you in the chat. And we're in constant contact with each other. It's the easiest way to work as a team. You can always just turn it off when you don't want to be bothered, turn it on when you want to work. So that's good, but I'm not. Okay. Well, let's just send me a report once a week and say, here's people that are doing fine or whatever, and here's people I need you to contact that I'm kind of worried about. So that'll be up to me to see what's up if people aren't pulling their weight. And then at the end of the day, when we're done with all this, you guys are going to kind of grade your own teammates and say how well you guys work together. And it's not going to be that they can see your vote. I will only see it because I can't know all that goes on, but I'll ask you to grade your teammates on, amount of effort, teamwork, communications, the actual work they produced, and so on. And that'll factor into your grade towards the end. So, this, having a team is the fun part. So, and thanks for being on top of it, Hunter. I know it's kind of a lot of responsibility, but. So I had a lot of, hey, I'm on your team. It's me and you. I had a lot of students, or maybe not a lot, a couple students saying they were having, they're just kind of completely lost with Blender. And then I have some students that are completely not lost with Blender. So it's varying skill levels, which is fine. Not everybody's even going to be doing Blender. I just want to make sure you guys can all get through it and I'm not kind of leaving you out to dry. So would it be beneficial if I do one more time, or should I record that later? It's all right. Haven't really got to anything yet. Yeah, it is hard to get started. So that's why, I had tutoring yesterday with one of our students, and just being able to ask some questions and work it out together really got him up to speed. But some people can just follow tutorials. Some need feedback. Some people like to read it. Some people like to watch it. So that's actually the discussion for the week. Is since I was kind of concerned maybe some of you guys weren't learning it all the way, I want you guys to kind of get used to looking at tutorials and how to find decent ones. So unfortunately, we don't have any paid ones at the moment. Let me change this a little bit. But there's tons of free tutorials on everything. The majority of the stuff I've learned, I was not taught by like a teacher formally. at least, you know, watch the tutorial or written or read the actual documentation, and then just kind of gone from there and learned it on my own. I'll try to teach you guys a little bit about everything, but since you're in specialty groups, you're going to have to get more advanced, and that's where these tutorials are going to come in. So this week, try to find a good one that you think will help you learn, and it will also help the class. If you're having trouble modeling, find a very basic Blender modeling tutorial. There's not that many really good ones, surprisingly. But there's actually some pretty decent written tutorials. Also, like the Blender documentation is pretty decent. Unreal documentation is really good. So try to find something that would help you and the class. It can cover anything relevant to the class. And then once you find a tutorial you like, just post the link in the discussion and put it on this Google Doc right here. It's open, so don't just go willy-nilly deleting everything. This is the document I'm having for the links for you guys. Once you're done submitting your tutorials, I will probably lock this again so you can't mess it up, but go ahead and just drop all your tutorial links down here. You can even put your name here if you want, who submitted it, and you know, kind of a name of it, the link, what it does, who submitted it, and maybe why you think it's cool. And then we'll, you know, I'll start categorizing these, and then if anybody needs to learn anything, you can just point them to this document and they can watch a tutorial. So that being said, here's a few things you may want to start with. When you're looking for tutorials, like, let's say, for example, I'm using two different browsers. It's kind of weird. I'm doing intro to Blender, and you can search YouTube, which is okay, but there's also other options. There's websites that have free stuff. Sometimes it's paid. Sometimes you have to dig around. You can click on the videos tab here, and that'll give you more videos. When you're searching, try to look for stuff that's kind of new. You know, I would say anything beyond 2015 is probably too old. Blender really hasn't changed much, so that's fine. But if you're looking up things like Unreal VR blueprints, good luck. And it's got to be, well, by definition, it's going to be fairly recent. It's not like YouTube videos, so it's like sites like this. These are like really good learning sites, but you know, the first one's free, and then they charge you, you know. But they, you know, they give you full project files so you can work with it, and yeah, it's really well done. They're long tutorials, like they're 12 hours for just for the intro, you know, which I guess is free. So maybe this is a good one to, if you guys really are stuck on basics. That one's cool, but you know, anything beyond that is paid, so. Yeah, well, a lot of the free ones are just kind of garbage. Yeah, some of them are good, so that's why I just kind of watch them, and it's up to you guys to do quality control and give me a couple good ones. I was lucky when I was in college. I worked at the library, and our library had tutorial videos from like, you know, 3 different companies on like every software you can imagine. So I would just take those home and watch those until I figured it out. I can see about the school getting us a paid subscription. If there's one that you guys are really interested in, let me know. At this point, we're so kind of varied that it'd be kind of, you know, silly to just buy a Blender training, you know, series or something, because not all you guys are going to be doing it. After this week, if you don't want to mess with Blender, you don't have to. So it shows you like how to open it, how to move around, selecting, adding, stuff like that. Which I can cover again if you guys want me to today. Yeah. Okay, so Kayla found one on UV unwrapping. Nathan found some cool ones here. Oh, character design, modeling, rigging. It looks like they didn't do what I asked though, so post it to the discussion and add it to the doc, okay? Oh wait, no, he did. That's one. Oh, and she did too. All right, so just post your name next to it so I know. Courtesy of who? So hopefully that'll help you guys, and we'll get kind of a variety, and then I'll know kind of actually what you guys are trying to learn too, or what you need to know. Anybody else get sick? I've had this for like a week now, and my whole family got sick. Like, my whole house is all sick. It's terrible. Then we got the normal book stuff, right? Yeah, besides you. 305 to 351. You almost did. Dodged a bullet. Yeah, that seems how long it lasts. It's been a bad one going around. Okay, so nice. So the real assignment this week is just to finish up your models and unwrap them. I've kind of done it a couple times now, but I can do it again if you want. Would that be helpful, or do you guys want me to do something else, or? Like just run through it real fast, start to finish? How about textures? You guys need help texturing? I know I didn't say textures in here, but I guess I can give you a few extra points if you want to texture it. Oh, I might need Photoshop though. Oh no, I have Photoshop. So yeah, I'm gonna have to show you in Photoshop if you, because I don't really know Pixlr or GIMP. Those are your alternates. There, it's on the resources here. GIMP is what I suggested. If you guys really need me to learn it, I can. It's basically the same as Photoshop, just the buttons are slightly different. But they seriously stole from Photoshop pretty badly. So let's see if I have. We're just doing like a box or something, or a wall, or should I do a model? Are we more concerned with texturing at this point, or do you want me to model something out real quick? Because I can just unwrap this box and show you how to make it look like wood. Okay. If you guys are still having issues modeling, watch my tutorials. Also, email me or look at some of these other tutorials and you should be fine. There's not that much to it. Also, show up to the mobile labs. I had a pretty good, individual tutoring session yesterday. So if you need help, that's always a good option. I need to download one thing that's cool though. So I guess I'm just gonna just leave it a box, whatever. I'll just unwrap this thing and see how it looks. Good enough. So the most simple unwrap in the world. Once you're done with this, you're going to want to export your UV layout. Sorry, maybe I did that too fast. So, I hope they're all right. It's all right. Don't worry if you don't miss it. I'm just saying if you need help, let me know. So if you guys you can even pull up your own model or whatever. Once you get to, if you've already unwrapped it, you already know what this layout is. Basically, if you click up here, there's default and UV. You have to be in the UV editing. If you don't see UVs, then you didn't unwrap it, or you're not in edit mode. If you see UVs, then you're good. You'll just go to, oh, and people wonder, ask me, well, what is UV? Does that mean like ultraviolet or something? No, it's just a way of just, it's, you know how we use XYZ for 3D space? We use U and V for 2D space. Little fun fact. So on my desktop, I guess, and it'll save it as a PNG, which is cool because a PNG allows transparency. So let's see if I did it right. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so open it up in your favorite image editing software. Mine just happens to be Photoshop, along with the rest of the world. And let me find you guys again. And so, you know, this is a simple layout. It's going to confuse me because there's no real detail to go off of. I could have made some cuts so I know like which way's up and which way's down. For now, I'm just going to throw wood on it and see how it comes out, I guess. Let's see. Well, I'll just show you. Basically, in the simplest form, if you go to our resource links here, stop asking me, geez. I have a link to textures right here, textures.com. Oh boy, hopefully I can get in. 1 second. Okay, all right. Has anybody checked this out yet? So this is why I said doing a realistic game would be maybe easier. Just because I can sit here and try to paint this, you know. I can go in here and try to paint some wood, and you know, a little darker, and you know, do some other parts of wood. And that's cool if you're good at painting, or you want that like World of Warcraft look. So if the design and the concept team want to do hand painted, we're gonna do it a different way. If we're doing realistic, we can do it this way. So you're not locked to only textures.com, but they just know they have a lot of easy stuff. So it's a good place to start. You only get 15 downloads a day, which is plenty usually. So in this case, I'm going to go to wood, and then you have all these different options. You got You got a lot of cool options. So it depends, like what style are we going for? Are we making it a plywood box? Or making it a old kind of crate reinforced looking box? Planks kind of in the works too. Let's see if I can find something cool here. Oh yeah. And a lot of these, some of these are tileable, and I can show you how to make tileable textures too, which is another cool trick. I don't know if I should do that today or another day, but let's see. Anything working here? Kind of like that. I'll go with that. Oh boy, they're killing us. So depending on how big we need images, we might need to use a different site also. For our purposes, I'm not too concerned, but when you're looking for if we're gonna just do a Google search for images, you want it to be flat, obviously. But the only thing is you got to be careful is because a lot of these are people have the rights to them, and you can't just freely use them if we're going to ever make any money off of this thing. If you want guaranteed free, no worry images, go to tools and then go to usage rights and then do labeled for reuse. This means we can have any of these for free and nobody will ever give us grief about it. You can also, if you don't use the search that much, here's another cool thing. Go to size. And then, so our textures, that's another thing we're going to have to decide. Are we going to do, I think we're going to have to stick with probably 1024 by 1024 textures. So everything goes in multiples of 2, you know, and it's a square. So our options are 1024 or 2048. Sure. So I guess we'd have to talk that over with probably the programmers. We'd have to be in charge of how much we can stuff into it. At this point, you might as well go 2048. It's super easy to downsize. It's impossible to make it bigger. So go to size and you can do larger than, or you can just do large. And then when you mouse over it, you can see how many pixels it is. So ideally, we want something big. The bigger, the better, which will allow us to mess with it. I mean, none of this is going to look like a crate exactly. And try to make sure there's no distortion, like from perspective or from lenses. Straight on textures are the best. This one's huge. Pexels, there's a few more free stock photo sites. I'll post some links for that too. Oh, so when you find a link or an image you like, it shows how many pixels it is, and you just click view image here and it'll pop you to just the image without the site. And then you can save that out. Make a folder, don't just throw everything on the desktop like I do. So back in Photoshop or GIMP or whatever you're using, you can just import or just open up that photo, copy it and paste it in here, and then scale it down. If you're using Photoshop, it's Control-T, and then you can scale it. And you can see, okay, so what I would do is I'll bring it into this document and I'll leave one of them full size. I'll make a copy of it, and then I'll work with the copy so that I never mess up the full size one and I don't have to go back. Excuse me. Here's actually what I do. I'm going to label my layers and say this is UVs. Put those at the top, and you can do multiply overlay Or not. It actually doesn't matter too much. If you do multiply, it means only the black lines will show. So you can kind of see where your texture is, or where your geometry is, so that you can go in here and try to line it up per thing. You can squish it a little bit, but don't squish it bigger. And you can only squish certain things. I mean, don't squish like a face or something, but wood, sure. Make sure that you can have, like, I can have this, it's probably better safe than sorry, overlap it a little bit. If you're off of what the geometry is, you know, over here, it's not going to show on anything. But if you miss a little gap, it'll show that gap. So I'll just do that for, I'm assuming, let's see, I'm assuming this is the top and that sides, bottom. I guess we'll just have to see. I'm going to plop it in. If it doesn't look right, then I'll just change it and go back and forth. I'll just make a copy of that. Pull it over here. You don't want to, like, you might want to use multiple images instead of I'm just using one. You can also do tricks like flipping it horizontally and it'll match up nicer. But sometimes you don't even want it to match up. Like in this case, it probably wouldn't because it's a separate piece of wood. Let's just figure out what the pattern would be up there. Oops. I might just be completely off, but who knows? That's like a basic texture. If you want to go in here, we can, you know, again, if you want an image that you can overlay on top of something, look for a PNG. JPEGs have a white background no matter what. PNGs don't have to. So I kind of like this one. Oh, it's got a. It's kind of small, but bear in mind I don't need it that big because it's only a small fraction of the actual image. What was this called? I can kind of make it look a little more real, like. Looks good enough to me. Feel free to spice it up however you want. Stencil text. Okay, and then say you're happy with that. And save it out as. We used to use TIFFs and Targas all the time. You can also use PNGs. Basically, you want an uncompressed file. JPEG's a no-no. Just don't use JPEGs. You can use PNG, TIFF, or Targa. Yeah, that's what most people use instead of Photoshop if you can't get Photoshop. And it'll look the same. It'll have like pretty much the same tools. And then like as long as you understand layers, it's roughly the same. This is what's called a diffuse texture. Oh, I don't even know what I saved it as. Whoops. Oh, Photoshop document. So I'll save it as I'll just do PNGs for now. Or I'll do a Targa, see if it works. Save. I'll let you guys know what we're going to be using: TIFFs, Targas, or PNGs. Any of them work at the moment. And then, so that is going to be. Let me show you. If we just now we're back in Blender. Down here we just go open and let me find my thing. So create. I put create D. So this is going to be our naming convention. At least for now, the name of the asset underscore D for diffuse. Diffuse is just the color. Okay, so see, I popped it in there, and now it should apply. You're not seeing it yet because I am still just in regular solid mode. Go to texture, and there you can see. If I get rid of some of this lighting, hold on. Oops. Oops. Texture. Okay. If you guys are tired of like not being able to see because of that lamp that it comes with, just delete it, and then everything will be fully lit. It's good to have shadows, but if you just want to see what the texture looks like, just delete that lamp. You can always throw in another, like a sun or something. To kind of see how it looks. Usually there's going to be a 3-point light system, so there'll be a main source, and then we'll have some kind of source, behind it that's kind of bouncing some light back, and then maybe even one down low. But you can see it's kind of lit. If I want, I could rearrange my textures because I wanted that to be, the other way. Or in this case, it doesn't really matter. I could just rotate the cube. And you got a cube. We're not done yet. So that's our diffuse. And that's pretty easy, right? Basically just pull out the UV. You just go over here and just make sure you're in edit mode, go to UVs and just export them. Oh, one thing I think I may have stupidly done. Yep, I did. When you save it out, hide the UVs. I mean, the little lines, So I'm going to redo that. One cool thing is if you save, if I'm going to save on top of that same exact file, it'll just replace it. Then I don't have to re-put it in. It'll just see how there's a little line here I can kind of see. I'm going to save it. It'll replace it. and that should update everything. It might take a second. So then after you do that, you're going to want a couple more maps. One second. All right, so where was I? Oops. TIFF with one F or two. Just use Targas, whatever. When you save it out, like it save, it doesn't actually matter. It'll read either way, just like JPEG. You can save it as a JPG or JPEG. Sorry, doesn't matter. Or we can use PNGs. I don't know what got me stuck on using TIFFs and Targas, but I guess I'll talk to the programmers and see if they have a preference. If they don't, then I don't care either. As long as if you're a modeler, you should be able to at least build your basic material, which I'll probably cover. Maybe I'll start that next week, and then we can. Next week we're gonna do Unreal stuff. So I can start with. Sorry, if you guys have your fully modeled, unwrapped, textured items, then I'm going to show you right now how to make a diffuse map, a normal map, and a spec map, and I'll show you how to bring that into Unreal and how to put all those maps together into what's called a material, apply the material to the object, and now you finally got a game object. Hooray. And then we can turn on, destructible, and we can shoot it, and all will be well. So what was I doing? Targa. I think I already did this. Okay, sure. All right. If you haven't already, download Crazy Bump. It's crazy cool. There's other ways of doing this, but I'm just going to show you the quickest cheater way, and it gets you pretty good results. So there's not really, at this point, any reason to fight it. It's the world's easiest software. Has anybody used it by chance? Once you do it like a couple times, it's really easy. Did it install? Okay. Okay, one second. Yeah, I mean, it depends what look you're going for, right? I mean, this is a simple box. Bear with me, guys. Like, our textures are going to be a bit more complicated when we get to it, but yeah, for now, that's fine. Put it on the object, see if it looks weird to you. If it looks good, then we're good. Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, easy peasy. Nice. So now comes the fun part. My favorite part. Normal maps. You guys know? Anybody know what normal maps are? We're gonna do more than normal maps. We're gonna do normal maps and spec maps. No clue? It's all good. Well, if you're still following along, go click this button to begin. And then we're going to open a photograph from file at this point, which is going to be your UVs that you created. I don't know. Do a save as instead of a save. And it says pick the better of these two shapes. I thought originally it meant which one do you want sticking out and which one do you want sticking not out. This actually for me might be a little tricky because only allows you to save as GIMP images. I'll take a look into that later. It says you can do it. Again, I don't really know GIMP that well, so GIF export save. Oh, you might have to do an export instead of a save as. How's that? Nice. Yeah. Just click file type at the top. And then see if it gives you an option. Or you may have to do an export. Export image as something. So for that part, you just go into here. You have your UV editing layout going here. And down here, this is going to be your texture. So yours should just be blank, and you can click open. And then just find that texture. And there it is. Be aware, TIFFs and targas don't have transparency. So in textures don't have actually textures can have transparencies, but you have to specify that. So you with me on that? We good? Got it? Okay. So when I'm in here trying to do normals, there's one thing that, so basically let me explain the normals. Normals, you look at a game and you look at a surface and it's just a plain texture, but it looks bumpy and it looks like it has detail, or it looks like, the wood has, some actual depth to it instead of being just pure flat. That's the normal map. It basically makes it look like it's coming out without having to add any geometry. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. You have to, The only problem I would have here is the symbols that I put on. I don't want those to necessarily be bumping out, but we'll see. It doesn't. We'll see how it looks. You know, in this case, they might look like they're engraved. If I didn't want that, I could bring in an image. I'll try that first, actually. I'll save. So if I want one without that stuff on it, I'll save that out. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking more like zones, you know? Like little areas that you go to, and once you accomplish whatever you need to or get your way out of there, it unlocks another zone that you can travel. And then we could do like load times in between not load actual times, but it would load up the next kind of zone as they traveled across an area. So I don't want these to show up on my normal map. So I'm gonna remove them and open an image without them. Oops. Blender, I don't need you. Get out of here. Okay, so then you just pick whichever one looks better to you, I guess. So I'll go with that one. And in this case, it'll be perfect because we click here and we go to a box, and oh, it's not going to show us like a box, but we can do we can actually load up our mesh in here if we want. So I could go back into Blender, file, export this mesh as an FBX, this is what you're going to always do when you want to bring a model into Unreal anyways. You got to export it as an FBX, and then okay, and then you can actually load that up in here. Oh, I guess not. What? Oh, they want OBJs. Let's see if I can get an OBJ. Okay, save it as an OBJ for this case. Just if you want to test it in here. You don't have to. It's not really necessary. But it should look cooler. What, did I save it in the wrong spot? Yeah. Okay, so now I can put it on my crate. You can tell there's a couple little issues here. But you can see how it went from looking flat to not. You can move your mouse. If you right click and move your mouse around, it'll move the light. So you can see how the light affects it. This is particularly useful on like, rocks and gravel and like a wall like yours, Hunter. So that's just our little preview. We can hide that. And over here, we can change what happens to it. So we can even see it with the diffuse texture on, and the we don't need parallax. Get rid of parallax displacement. Get rid of colored lights and keep specular. And there we go. Now you can go back into your normals. This is where you can change how crazy you want it, how crazy you want the bump. And this is just, playing around. And it's dependent on, I guess, your image. How much like very fine detail do you want? You can see it in this image, and you can also see it reflected here. So if I crank that down or up, it'll either bump it in or out. And if I do it really extreme, it'll show a lot of those real fine grain wood, And let me make sure I'm not missing some chat. Okay. So maybe you want some fine detail, very fine. Maybe you want some fine. Don't go overboard. Like hesitation or a little restraint is good. If you go over just bananas crazy, like I want it to look all crazy bumpy, it starts, actually doesn't look so bad. It can start to look kind of messed up, but it's actually not so bad. Like the very large detail should give me the planks, hopefully. And you can see it here too. It's probably easier to look at that. Actually, the very large detail is more like not useful at all. But at any rate, get to a point where you like it. Like that's kind of okay for me. You guys giving that a try? So that created this. There's also another way I used to do it with a Photoshop plugin, but if you don't have Photoshop, we're not doing that. And the final way would be if you were to actually sculpt all this detail in and then basically snapshot that and then place it onto a simple object. But we're not doing that either. So what we want out of this is normals and specularity. Normals is always going to be this kind of rainbow action. And specularity is always going to be black and white. Pure white is purely reflective. Pure black is a black hole. And it's all shades of gray in between. So you can tell this is correct because the black is in between the planks, so it looks like that's darker. It also looks like it's going in. So now I can just save out these maps. Save normals, or you can save all textures. Let me just make a folder. So now you can see here, I got all my textures. We don't need, we're not going to need displacement probably, and we're probably not going to need ambient occlusion. But we'll need these three. So those are our three textures we're going to need to bring into Unreal. Which I guess I can show you now if you want, or we can just do that once you guys are done and ready to do it next week. Did anybody try that right now? Oh, and then for me, I want to actually swap out my color map. They're using PNGs. I guess I'll just use PNGs too. But I want my diffuse map to actually include that writing, but I don't want my normals to include that. Whoops. But if you're doing PNGs, make sure it's not compressed though. No compression. And no, don't interlace it either. So now for me, even though like it might bump in, my stickers won't bump in, and I might even want to change it on my spec map a little bit. Because maybe I want those stickers to be like shiny. So if I were to do something like that, it would make them shiny. I guess I'm not to be so shiny. I'm gonna resave that as my specular map because I want them to have a kind of a sheen that's not the same as the wood. I gotta rename all these things. This is terrible. Okay. Oops. Okay. Okay, so now I got my 3 maps right here. Color, normal, spec. I'm kind of running out of time to cover it in Unreal. So maybe save it for next week. I can throw it together. Let's see if I have Unreal ready to go real quick. I was going to show you guys, I put together a level over the weekend or whenever I was sick, and just to test it out and see how big we can get and see how VR would work with this. Turns out we can get pretty huge in VR even if we wanted to. But that was on the other computer. But now I'm done switching between computers. I'm on this one permanently. Oh, and if you get it backwards, you can always invert it on Crazy Bump. Oh boy. Well, I'll see if I can just throw this together kind of crudely really quick. Normally you spend a bit more time with materials, but in Unreal you spend a bit more time. And don't worry about you can put normal maps and spec maps in here if you want, but I don't even bother. I just use this for color, just to check if the thing's placed on there correctly, you know. And if it is, you're good. But if you're so inclined, you can go in here and make materials and stuff too. I'm just waiting for Blender to load. I mean, Unreal. Oh. Yeah, whatever. Actually, I did do it on this computer. Never mind. But I don't have my VR headset, so I'm not gonna demo it really. Ugh. Did you guys get your textures or no? Oh. This is just like the VR template setup. You can grab all this stuff. It's all interactable. And this is what's known as a tileable texture. So I'll teach you guys that too. Maybe I'll just teach the concept guys that, or whoever's doing I guess the 3D art guys would be who's doing that. So that it's like a small texture. Maybe it's this. Maybe these 9 squares that can repeat infinitely and not look like repetitive, you know? So if I'm going to bring my thing in real quick, I could just say, I can just make a folder in here and say it's my crate folder. And import the FBX. A skeletal mesh only if you are going to be a character. Automatically create unreal materials for materials found in the FBX scene. Oh, that's kind of cool. So I guess if you did make materials in Blender, it may be able to bring it over. So if somebody wants to try that, that'd be cool. I'm just going to import it just like that. Oh, I forgot to talk about scaling. We'll see how tiny this thing is. Oh, and smoothing groups. Okay, it's been a little while. Yeah, it might be a problem because I didn't create a smoothing group. But yeah, there's my crate. Now I just need to make materials for it. So I would go new. Well, let me import my textures first. Import my textures. And then go new material. Right, you can just right click here, material. And you could do create material. And then you can pretty much just click the texture you want to use, hold the letter T, and then click in here, and it'll pop in. So that's your base color. That's your normal. And then spec. So there we can see it's on there. Press save. Now we have the material. We just need to apply it to the object. So open up, we got our material. Open up your crate, double click it, select the material, and then just click this little arrow that says use selected asset. And now we've got it. Oops. So there, amazing, a crate, a cube. in Unreal. Let me see. There's I'll cover collision and destruction and stuff like that next week or something, or coming up soon. But just press save and then get out of there. And now let's see how tiny it is. Oh, it's kind of huge. There we go. So I've brought a thing into Unreal. Hooray. That's basically what I want you guys to get the workflow of. Model something, unwrap it, texture it, bring it into Crazy Bump, do the normal, do the spec, and then put them all back together in Unreal. Questions? Anybody still there? Hard, easy, simple, self-explanatory. What did I miss? You can even make them. That's a lot of work for a crate, and you have to do that for every single object. Video games, nobody said they'd be easy. yeah, that's easy. That's the basics. I mean, really, that's the easiest way I can do it. I can make it way harder if you want. But that's the bare bones basics of getting an object into Unreal. Like literally, as low as we can go. My modeling guys are, you'll take it a little to the next level. If you need help with texturing, unwrapping, or any of those steps, let me know. And then Crazy Bump does the work for you with these other couple maps. It's fun. Some of us find it fun. Put some music on and kind of just, get in the zone. And once you know what you're doing, it's actually pretty quick. So, that's what I was saying. Like, once you guys start rocking, you should be able to model texture, model, unwrap, texture, import, and everything like a model per day if you really are trying. But maybe a model per week for the class if you're in the 3D art team. And then once we have all these things, we can basically. I haven't set up source control yet, but you guys could I don't know. I'll probably set up source control where when you make a change like this, you can submit it, and then it goes into the system, and it says, "Oh, I got a new thing," and I say, "Yeah, I like that," and then I can just, drag it and drop it and put it all over the place and stack them, and And then once the level designer has folders full of assets to work with, then they can start building levels. Otherwise, it's kind of, we're just doing placeholder stuff with blocked out walls and fake stuff. So good. You guys learned something? So if you can, go all the way in, and really I just need a screenshot that you got it into Unreal. I'll give you a few extra points for getting it into Unreal. There's only a couple more extra steps. Hey, you can watch the video again. It's recorded. once you guys already seem to figured out, okay, basic modeling, basic unwrapping, for the most part, and then texturing's easy. If you don't know anything about GIMP or Photoshop, just let me know. It's really not that hard when you're just taking images off the internet and slapping them on some geometry, you know. That might be the one part I didn't teach you. Talking about assets in Unreal, man. Biohazard ones. Oh, and let's see. 3D art guys and concept. I need a list of assets for people to start working on. Because I'll do one, I'll do a couple, and then we can have our art guys do a couple, and like let's kind of prioritize. I guess we could just start by making like walls and floors and trees and stuff that we need a lot of. So just make sure that Hunter, make sure the art guys have something to work on. They could even just start with textures and just materials, because well, I'll teach you how to do tile level textures next week if you want. But I want us to focus our energy towards something. So if your model's good enough, like this one's not great, but we can always jam it in a corner somewhere, you know, in a dimly lit hallway. And then we'll just have, you know, everything that you guys do for assignments will get used in the game. That's what I was trying to accomplish with this class. So I should have 30 assets that we can use by now. And then next week, I'm going to try to have the art guys do another one, like a more advanced one. Concept needs to finish their concepts. Then level can start finishing their top-down designs. Programming's already got their hands full. QA I already talked to. I think we're starting to get a little bit on track here, but we're just still baby steps. Oh, but like I said, Hunter, I got my computer up and running, everybody, so I'm in beast mode now, even though I'm sick. Yeah. Well, in a real office, you would just be walking the hallways and talking to everybody and be like, hey, where's my stuff I asked for? They'd be like, just give me 2 more minutes. And then everybody duck and hide when they see you coming. No, you're the moral support. You're the coordinator. You know, the lifeblood. It wouldn't work without somebody holding it all. You're the glue. How about that? You need somebody to hold it down. But yeah, I'm impressed, guys. If you need anything, let me know which way I can point you for help. A little bit about most of it. So yeah, I've seen some cool stuff from you guys already, but we're just getting there. First thing I need is a top down from you level guys. Maybe some storyline and yeah, just a cardboard or just a wooden box. That's not the point. It's for demonstration. Yeah, but seriously, this can start coming along quickly. So give me that top down. Get some concepts for some enemies and some get a list of assets, and then we can all start doing our jobs, and we'll at least have iterations. Within the next few weeks, we should have something that we can press play and walk around on at least a little bit. Great, thanks. Well, I've had it. Yep. Okay. Well, that's it, guys. Any questions? We good? If anybody has anything they want me to demo on Thursday, I'll try to make Thursdays. Oh, thanks. She's not allowed to run in here when I'm teaching, though. Thursdays I can make. She's just turned 5, and then I have like a newborn, like a 8-month-old. So, and they're both sick, and they're both home today. So we're all sick. It's just a nightmare. It's gross over here. But yeah, she's super cute. But what I was saying, Thursdays is you choose. Like if there's something you want me to learn or teach, I mean learn then teach. Let me know, and then I'll do it. If not, we can play games or something. Dude, we were playing Super Mario World, and then we were playing. I had her playing the VR Playroom on PSVR, and she loves that game. It's hilarious. She can pretend she's a cat. She puts the thing on, and like she pokes her head out, and we're like little mice running around. She catches us, or she's like a monster. Well, she plays a bunch of games already. It's basically what we do for family like time. So games are good. They make you think. They help you solve puzzles, and they give you an escape from your world you might not be excited about. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Thursdays, if there's nothing specifically that I need to teach, we could do it Thursdays. I got my supercomputer up and running, so bring it on. I'm just eating through every game that I'm trying, so I've done everything on ultra settings for hours, and it doesn't bother my computer at all. It's nice. Even VR. All right, I gotta go too, guys. I got a class to teach, but hit me up if you need anything via email. All right, catch you later.